Today I'm going to teach you how to execute some of the more common dance turns, and I'm keeping this like broad across several genres, so some jazz, some lyrical, kind of contemporary, and ballet. If I missed any that you think are common or good for a part 2 of this video, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. One thing we have to address before we start is something that is common to all of these turns, which is spotting. Spotting your head. If you already know what spotting is, skip this, but for those of you who don't know, spotting is when you pick something to look at, preferably the direction that you're turning. That will be the easiest choice. And you try to keep your focus there and your head looking that way for as long as you possibly can until you have to snap your head around, and then you snap it around quickly, sharply, and your head stays in this like nice straight path. Don't do this. See that? Don't lean your chin up and back. Keep your head where it is and just practice that. I would say before you start trying to learn all these complicated turns, practice your spotting. Stand in the mirror and just go like this. And try and wait as long as you can before you have to turn your head. Make sure you do both sides. So that's the foundation of all these turns. You're gonna wanna do that with your head. It's important that you learn this early and that you don't delay learning how to spot your head, because it's only gonna make the rest of these things harder. Like, it's gonna be harder down the line for you to get good at turning if you can't spot your head properly. We're gonna start with the Chaine turn. You're gonna start with your feet in first position, turned out, so my heels are touching ideally, and then I'm gonna releve up or lift my heels up, and my legs are completely straight. This is the position that you are in for the entire Chaine turn. A Chaine turn should never be big like this. This is the big mistake that I see a lot of people making, is they're like opening their legs way, way, way too wide, when really, Chaine turn should be nice underneath yourself, just up from your releve, turned out. You're gonna wanna use your glute muscles, really squeeze, 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 pull those heels forward so that you can maintain your turnout. And I find that this helps kind of like lock me in and stabilize me. If I kind of just let go of these muscles here and I'm not trying to turn out, I find it a lot harder to balance. So use your turnout, pretty please, it will help. Next thing is I want you to put an imaginary line on the ground, or you could put like a piece of tape down and actually have a line, or use the lines in your floor. And I want you to make sure that you're gonna go on that line as you travel. So what you don't wanna do is travel like around or like in a diagonal if that's not the path that you're supposed to be taking. In this instance, when you're first learning Chaine turns, I would recommend you just do them straight to the side. I'm gonna step out onto straight legs and then keep my legs super straight the entire time. As you can see, I'm spotting my head, and all I'm doing is taking little steps. You'll see in a lot of dance classes that are very beginner level or teaching children that they'll have you open and close your arms. And that's okay, I think, when you're young, but I prefer to teach with just arms here in first position, staying closed the entire time, because really, you don't need that much force, okay? It's all about your legs, you picking up your little feet and just moving them like this. So the direction of the turn, you always want to think you're going away from your audience. So if I'm going to the right, I'm going over my right shoulder. And you can just practice this. If you're worried about the traveling component and how to move down the line, just practice like with flat feet. Like, just think about the spotting and just moving and get comfortable with that. The other big mistake I see folks making is they hold back. So let me show you what I mean. So this is a Chaine turn where I'm holding back. Okay, and then this is a Chaine turn that I'm doing properly, or several Chaine turns, where I'm going in the direction I need to go and I'm not holding back. Do you see how much more, I'm not really going in a straight line, but do you see how much more like determined and how much better my energy looks when I just go that way? I'm not holding back. Don't be scared, don't pull yourself back, because a lot of times you'll see a Chaine turn being a transition or a preparation for a big jump, like a calypso or like a turning center leap. And if you have your weight way back here and you're scared, it's gonna be really hard for you to pop those legs up in the air and get that jump if you're holding yourself back. Since we're on the theme of having our legs turned out, let's go over a pirouette that you would see in ballet, or a turned out pirouette. I'm gonna teach this from fourth position. You could do it from fifth position, but let's just, for simplicity, stick with fourth today. So I am going to take my feet into a fourth position. There are a number of preparations for this. We're gonna stick to a very basic one. I'm going to just bend both of my legs and keep my heels pressing down into the floor. You can be here, or you could have your arms rounded, right? Don't put too much of your weight back, because guess what? You have to go up onto the front leg. So if your weight's too far back, it's gonna be hard. Stop making things harder for yourself by doing that. All I'm gonna do is essentially, I'm pulling my right leg into passe, and I'm lifting up the heel on my left leg, boom, here, and then I'm gonna turn my body as I do that. Easier said than done. So let me show you to the front. You're here, you're preparing, you push up on a passe. The important thing is that you get your foot to passe as quickly as you can, and then you're gonna rotate your body. So I'm gonna do an outside turn, en day or out the door. So since I'm turning with my right leg in passe, I'm going toward the right. I'm going away from my audience toward the right, and then I spot my head, boom, and then I land however I need to land. Make sure that when you bring your foot to passe, that your heel is coming forward. You don't want to sickle your foot and do this, where your heels and your toes are, where your toes are coming forward. You want toes to essentially go back, heel to come forward. Passe should be at least at your knee. It's actually called a retire. It's not technically called passe. Passe is to pass. It is the movement. But I say passe because a lot of people say passe, and it's probably just easier for me to say that. Some other things that are gonna help you are the positioning of your pelvis as you turn. So as I go up, I wanna make sure that all of this stays in a nice straight line. I'm thinking about engaging my core and almost like closing my ribs together and pulling my tailbone down toward the floor. You don't wanna turn like this with the suede arched back, and you also don't wanna tuck yourself under here. Speaking of pirouettes, let's do a jazz pirouette. Okay, so I'm going to start in a same kind of preparation as I did for the turned out pirouette in a fourth, but this is a jazz prep. So I'm parallel, and you'll notice that I pick up my back heel. So my back heel is lifted up as high as it possibly can be, and I have about 70% of my weight in my front foot. This is me personally, what I think you should do, because again, if you're putting too much of your weight back, then it's gonna be really hard for you to get up and forward. It's okay if you're doing like one turn, but if you eventually wanna be doing like 5 pirouettes, then you wanna make sure that you have more of your weight forward. Notice that my prep isn't too big. I don't have this in like a full lunge, but like my feet are kind of like right under my hips. My weight is straight down. It's not anywhere else, like I've said. It's the same principles here. You're picking this foot up into passe, except now it's parallel. My knee is pointing straight forward, and I'm gonna go up on releve on my opposite foot. All you have to do is add the turn in. I'm going to the right again, turning over my right shoulder, boom. That's it. I just thought of one. A pique turn. Pique means to prick, and pique, you're always stepping onto a straight leg. You can pique into several positions. Like I can pique into an arabesque. That just means I'm stepping out onto this straight leg. Think about a chaine turn, kind of. Like you wanna think of those same principles. Make sure you go in a straight line. Make sure you spot your head in the direction that you're going. Don't lean back. But now you're picking up the other leg into passe. So you're doing this, step up to passe. And I'm actually gonna show you my other leg because this knee is not feeling so good right now. But I'm stepping out onto a straight leg, picking up my other leg to passe, and then I put it down, boom. And I return to my starting position, and then I go again. You should just practice this for a little bit before you add the turn. You could do it up here at the bar if you wanted to. I have students go like this and just pique up across the bar and learn how to really shift their weight over. But it's harder than you think to get it to feel natural to step onto a straight leg. So really focus on that for a while before you start adding the turn. Okay, then when I add the turn, I step out and I just rotate my body around. You don't need a ton of force from this arm. And this goes for all of our turns. We never wanna like be swinging our arms and like trying to use them so aggressively to propel our bodies around. Open, close, they assist you. They don't do everything though. Your legs have to be strong. So a pique turn, let me do a couple of them. Sorry, my passe isn't going very high, but it's because my knee hurts. And there you have it. We just covered a few turns, but again, if there are more that you want me to cover in a part 2, let me know. Let me know if you want me to do this for something else, like I could do jumps in a similar way, show some common jumps and how to execute them properly. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I hope to have you back for my next video. Okay, bye.